Use or lose. This is for
Okay.
exotic wagering only.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to ask you
Okay.
about
No,
horses.
you have to be serious.
For exotic wagering only, not necessarily a win threat, but a spread horse in a pick 4, or underneath in the try, super exacta. The first horse is Eskin for money. We will start with you, Matt Carruthers. Eskin for money, use or lose?
I think you use. I mean, I just mentioned it, Bird at the Wire that day, March 28th, was a closer. Even with Upstart running that day, I thought it was a closer day. This horse will be close to the pace. I thought it was a pretty good second place. Use at a price, 20-1 with Castellano.
Christina, use or lose Escandarea, 20-1 on the morning line, 5-2 in the Oaks. Last time out, Pletcher and Castellano, he says use, you say...
I say use as well, and it's for the same reasons that Matt mentioned. I mean, you're going to get such a short price on Bird at the Wire, and she also had a great, tough trip last time. She was pretty wide in that last effort in the Gulfstream Park Oaks, and I think she's going to get a great trip on Friday. Matt mentioned the fact that Condo Commando will be on the lead. Sarah Sis probably pressing. Asking for money will be right there to get the jump on some of the closers and probably pick up the best trip. So use for me with Eskin for money at 20-1.
All right, Kurt Hoover, use or lose? Is it a consensus or do you dissent?
Lose, but not adamant.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to use the horse, but I could see the horse getting in there. So I'm not
You
trying to
don't
middle
loathe her?
things. No, no, she's not on my bad list. The fault I find, there's her last 2 races to me look exactly alike, and I don't know if she's going to move forward off that. If she's reached her peak, and I think some of these others have some room to move up, I have the feeling she might be at her best race, which may be good enough, but a lukewarm lose. Okay.
Lukewarm lose.
Okay.
I like that phrase.
All right.
Use
It's
or lose?
alliterative, too, so-
We're going to start with Christina here.
Okay.
Use or lose, forever Oh, I got to start with Matt, I'm being told.
You gotta go with me first.
I got to go with you,
You
the
have to.
producer. Okay.
You have
Stick
to.
to
I'm
the
sitting.
format.
It's in his
Stick to the
contract.
plans. Yes,
Forever Unbridled, 15-1 morning line, coming up that 3rd in the Fairgrounds Oaks.
I know one of our researchers extraordinaire, James Lee, is a big fan of this runner. You know, I went back and looked at her last start. I knew she was stuck on the rail the entire race. I thought she had a pretty good trip. She saved ground. She finally got in the tooth path, and I thought she flattened out a little bit. So, you know, I know that Lemon's Forever Her Dam won the Kentucky Oaks at 8 zillion to 1, biggest price ever at 47-1. That's a nice stat, but that means nothing in terms of whether Forever Unbridled's gonna do well in the Kentucky Oaks because her dam won the race. It means nothing to me. I'm not gonna use her, lose her. She'll get overbet with Mike Smith.
Christina, Forever Unbridled, use or lose?
Lose. I think she needs an absolute pace meltdown in order to win, and I don't think she's going to get that on Friday.
I kind of think I know where Kurt's going here, but I'll ask anyway. Use or lose?
I'm on an island here. I'm
Yeah.
going to use.
Really?
Yeah, and one of the reasons the jockey Matt mentioned, but he also makes a valid point. Because of that, the price will not be as big as I think it would have been with Mike Smith. Mike Smith on big days takes money no matter what the race is. I'm trying to read between the lines the way the race shapes up, and you were diagramming the pace with the time form pace.
Right.
I think Mike Smith's going to grab this horse, and she might be back even further than she
I think
has
she'll be
been.
further back.
I think she's a one-run type, and I think with a guy like Mike Smith, he's going to make that
But
decision.
the Lemon's
to
Forever
drop
thing
back.
will also hurt her price, don't you think? Oh, her dam won the race.
I hope people bet on stuff like that. I really
They
do,
do.
because it helps
They
prices
do.
for those stuff you really need to bet on. Yeah, I'm with you, Matt. That is meaningless. A nice story, but it doesn't have anything to do with this year's Kentucky Oaks.
I get to start again, right?
The final use or lose is a
Prima
horse.
donna. See, he always wants to go
Yeah,
first.
it's in his contract.
Always first.
He's thrown that thing in my face a number of times. The final horse on use or lose is a horse that Timeform US lost on their pace scenario. Wasn't even on the screen. Let's go include Betty.
Lose. And to me, again, I'm a big charts guy. And at Oaklawn Park on Fantasy Day, that'd be April 4th, there were, well, obviously all they have is dirt races there. Out of the 10 dirt races, 5 dead closers, 4 pressers, only 1 speed horse. So to me, include Betty last early on, a big-time closer bias that day. She took advantage of it. Also, I don't think that race was very strong, so lose. I don't like include Betty at all.
Christina, do you include Betty?
I do not. She's a lose for me as well. I think
3
the
for 3
last
together.
race actually fell apart in that last effort in the fantasy, and she kind of benefited from the pace meltdown out front. And then behind that, the form that she has at Tampa, I just don't think it's strong enough to stack up to some of the fillies that she's competing against on Friday.
Kurt, include Betty?
I'm a new guy here.
Yeah.
I want to alienate my 2 co-hosts, so I'm going to agree with them on this one.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose, too. And for the same reasons Christina said, she's a really nice horse, but I look at her form before her last race, her top buyer was 78. I just don't know, again, if she's fast enough. And with her style, she's going to be way far of it. I don't think these good fillies are going to come back to her. So one of these is finally unanimous, and I remain in good graces with my 2 new co-hosts.
None of us are including Betty.
Nobody includes Betty.
Time form, the 3 of us all did not include Betty.
Nobody includes Betty. Hey, by the way, everyone's a winner here. Everyone. This is the exact opposite of pari-mutuel wagering.